Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I'll show you a DIY mask and this one is going to be super simple. Of course, I want everyone to be able to access this, so I'll also upload a PDF version of it below the video as a downloadable link. So you can print it out and make it easier for you if that fits you better. But all in all, it's super simple. Make sure to stay tuned and you'll learn exactly how you can do it in a matter of minutes. For today, you will need a piece of fabric, 2 bands, about 30 centimeters long, so you can also take longer ones if they aren't stretchy, if you couldn't find anything that's stretchy. So any rope or band will work, but then a bit longer. Then you're gonna need something to measure with. You want a hand gauge and a measuring tape today, so both of these definitely. Then a safety pin, regular pins, and fabric scissors. So here is the pattern that we're doing. You can also do a screenshot of this and just copy it onto your paper. So you can start by doing a super easy rectangle shape. So this is just a general adult size. So I'll show you. One side of the rectangle is 13 centimeters and one is 20 centimeters long. So first you do 20 times 13 centimeters. Then you mark the middle, so 10 centimeters is where you want to mark, and I did a bit lighter line in the middle. That's not the most important section, but do that as you prefer. Then you want 3 centimeters to the top from the one side and mark there, and the same from the top, from the midline 3 centimeters downwards, again mark. Then when you do those, you put your ruler or hand gauge so that you have 1.5 centimeters on each side of the midline. So we want the 3 centimeter total around the midline here, and then we get a little triangle shape that you can see. So this time it's 1.5 centimeters on each side of the line, so that's where you're gonna mark. And then we connect all the lines on top and bottom, and then you're almost done. So now you just need the side marks. So on either side, on the top, including the bottom as well, 3.5 centimeters, so it's the same on all of these, from the top or bottom of each side. Then from this mark, from the middle line, the 1.5 centimeters from the middle is where you pull the line to the other side. So I'm going to summarize this really quick. 13 centimeters times 20 first, 3 centimeters tall and wide are the middle triangles, and then here from all corners you do 3.5 centimeters up or down if you're working from the other side. Cut out the shape that you get in the middle, so you don't need the outside little pieces, and then you can do the same out of the fabric as well. So just make sure you leave about 1 centimeter all around for the stitching. So I used some stretchy fabric here. I'm doing leftover bits from other projects. So if you're a beginner, I recommend cotton to make it easier, but of course you can use any type of fabric you want or already have. Just make sure it's something you can wash at higher temperatures in order to disinfect it when you wash it as well. And yeah, cotton is definitely the simplest if you don't have a lot of experience, so that's definitely my first choice. You're gonna need the main piece 2 times, so for the outside and the inside layer. If the fabric is very thin, you can even do multiple layers or even put some fleece in the middle or something like that. And yeah, you need at least 2 pieces and then we can get started. I'll show you the steps for the outside piece, but it's the same for both. Also, make sure that the prettier side of your fabric is on top. So in my case, you can kind of see which one is the back side. So fold in half along the midline. pin to keep it aligned, and I'll take a regular pin for that, and then we can do the little corners. So we stitch here about 1 centimeter away from the edge. That's how much room we have left for stitching in the first place. So that's where you start, and you go all the way from there all the way to the bottom. And I recommend you secure the stitching at the beginning and at the end. Now that you did this, you can turn it inside out and you can see the shape that we will have. So the middle is sticking out just a little bit. On the bottom is our chin section, and on the top, of course, our nose section. So that's what we want. It fits better that way than if it's just a flat piece of fabric. So I did the same with the other piece of fabric, of course, and then I can turn it inside out and you'll see the same effect going on there. So here we want the pretty side on top and then pretty side on pretty side from there. So the top piece goes the other way around over it. Again, align the stitches and pin them to keep them in place. And now you can pin the rest of the sides, so the middle first and then the outer edges, and you can start anywhere and just go all around. I recommend you start at one of the corners, leave a little opening so that you can turn it inside out later. And I'm doing it on this side because if you did it here, it would be harder to hide later. So we're starting here and then around the corner and then all the way to the other side. Make sure you take your time and make it neat, and then stop a bit before the beginning so that you get that little opening that I was talking about for turning it inside out. Now that you did this, you should have a piece that looks like this one, and now we can turn this inside out. I made a super small opening, so I have to be careful. Now align the edges, and the inside fabric should be pushed into the outside fabric. You also want to push the open edges inside, and then we can pin to keep that in place. So just a pin here, and then we just do an extra stitch over the whole thing around all outer edges. Make sure that your stitching is really aligned, so that's why we are doing it after all, so you don't want it crooked or weird. Now that we did this, we get a very neat piece, flatter than before, and now we just need to push the band inside the both two ends. And so now is the time to decide which side you want to use, so that's completely up to you, both are the same. So if you've done them differently like I have, then you can choose, either way it's fine. So in my case, I want this to be on the outside, and that side we fold a bit to make a little pocket. So you can of course do the same on either side, especially if you've done them the same way, it doesn't really matter. My band is pretty small, so I don't need a lot of room here, so now I'll do a little pocket here, but you can do it wider if you'd like. this is the width I want, so now I'll pin it. And then just do a stitch from top to bottom. And do the same on the other side. You want this equally wide on both sides. Pin, and again do it from top to bottom. So we're almost done now. It looks super neat from the outside. From the inside we have the pockets. So now we need both bands, and I'm doing about 30 centimeters of length for each piece. So you can do it up to 40 if you want it looser. So you can always shorten it if you do too much, but I definitely recommend doing at least 30 centimeters because anything less than that will be too tight for an adult size. Here's my safety pin. It makes the pushing through so much easier, so you can do it without, but it's a lot more work that way. So now you can tie a knot here or stitch over the two ends. I think it looks neater when you put one on top of the other and then you stitch over it. But since this is pretty thin, I think a knot will be just fine. The knot I'll hide inside the pocket. The same we will do on the other side, and then we're done. So this is the entire project, a little stitch here and you already get your shape. And I think that you could even do this by hand if you wanted to, and then just do one layer with a little bit thicker fabric. So that might be an even simpler option of the simpler option, or the super simple option that's simple in the first place. So yeah, this is all there is. The bands, of course, can be replaced, which is also great. And you can wash these masks just like any other piece of clothing or fabric. So that's also a really cool thing to have. Also, the higher the temperature, the better, and the cleaner afterwards. So that's also a really big plus. If you enjoyed, feel free to shoot us a thumbs up. You can, of course, subscribe to our channel and that way stay updated with everything new that we post. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in our next video. Have a great day. Bye!